Say hi. What the fuck is here?
My name is Impala, and I am currently the best Brawlhalla player in North America.
Wait, woohoo! Wait, no, you're not. You placed fourth.
Certainly feels like that, you know, like especially when if you could get all the way to the end too and you just end up in second, it stings. I feel like second stings a lot more than, you know, it just feels like that, you know, like especially when if you could get all the way.
A lot of the engagements from Sandstorm kind of include dodges, which is why he's really low on like in terms of defense, because people don't really attack that early, especially nowadays.
To the end too, and
I can't say it's outdated because obviously it got into top 12, but it just doesn't work into a certain number of players.
End up in second.
Yeah, like look, he literally every time when he pressures him,
to the end too, and just end up in
pressure him, he dodges. And then
it's
pressure him again, he dodges.
I feel like second stings a lot more than you know 7th or 8th. But right now, man, Stingray trying to play to the.
It would be hard to say that it's called pressure, but it's more like as soon as he starts to gain stage, Sandstorm believes that on that engagement he will somehow attack somewhat, like as long as it's early, because he's dodging way before anything's even being done.
Yep.
And then
every time when he
Sandstorm try to cover his unarmed whiff with the jump spot dodge, which also again doesn't really work to this player, because it's like even though you can punish the attack, it would do more service if you would wait a bit longer to punish the dodge. And of course, if Sandstorm's gonna keep that up, then he's just gonna fall behind the whole time.
Yeah.
Second stings a lot more.
That's or if it's
7th or 8th.
Solid.
But right now, man, Stingray trying
make that
to play to the top, the best of their ability. Off to a nice start there. That was a beautiful combo. And continuing to put this damage down, but Sandstorm not landing a hit yet until right there, just one straight hit.
Yeah, and so far Stingray's been playing so unbelievably well with
this
whole line throughout the entirety of this tournament. Great setups, going up against the likes of, say, Viper and, say, so many different players. But Stingray has been able to be so adaptive, a little bit slower, more calculative playstyle. And if Stingray wanted to go up against Hughes later on, might be a great slow battle that builds up that tension. But speaking of building up tension, Sandstorm losing that first
he's
slow battle.
Sorry.
Go on.
I was gonna say, I feel like Woody is just,
later on might be a great slow battle that builds up that tension. But speaking of building up tension, Sandstorm losing that first stock, and Stingray only a few dents in that armor.
Man, and that is
honestly, he could just stick to his original game plan and be fine, because he could stay in the center and take up a little bit of stage, and in some cases, Sandstorm could actually just end up like using his dodge like preemptively.
Yeah, that's true.
And he also knows that a lot of Sandstorm's good spots are in his advantage and his offstage. So he can just continue to hold stage and go for edge guarding instead, which is usually something that he's just naturally adjusted to.
Yeah,
spot to be.
I think Woody's like really good on the Sandstorm because he's always able to
in there, but now
he's able to catch all of his habits really well.
Seeing the scythe come into play, and listen, I know
it's of higher risk if you were to
and that is definitely
mix that in with spear. With Lance, it's actually more lenient. Like he won't be able to play into Lance that well with into Sandstorm, because Sandstorm's always moving basically. And for Lance, usually your main job is to do the attack first, but to also be accurate as a normal heavy weapon should be. So yeah, that's all I got on it.
To be in there, but now we're seeing the scythe come into play. And listen, I know there's one thing that I have seen consistently is that when Sandstorm has that scythe in hand, it just feels like a different piece. Now,
it's always really close. Like Sandstorm is like really close, but for a good reason. As long as he's generating pressure, because now he's like he could just force an aerial, like he could just put himself in like advantage. So for Stingray to regain like what he's kind of losing at the moment, he just needs to retaliate somewhat with an aerial and then just go back into staying on the ground, because he feels so much less comfortable in the air than you do on the ground.
He's not good with the gauntlets, but the scythe just feels different. You ever get that vibe?
He's the scythe player. Always has been, always will be. Was a relatively unknown name way back in the day, but then when Scythe came out, boom, world champion.
The movements on Stingray seem kind of inconsistent from here, and I mean it's fine because spear at advantage is both really good and extremely hard to like manage. At least from my experience, I don't believe it's hard, but once a string weapon gets in on you when you're playing spear, it's actually pretty easy for them to gain influence on you because they're always just going in and out, like just mixing in between engagements. So for Stingray to do well in this set, he just has to kind of like tunnel vision a bit defensively to make sure that he's back on stage and then just regains his footing. It feels a lot more uncomfortable on stage heavy weapons than it would be with string weapons because you bring your hitboxes with you when you're playing string weapons.
I feel like whenever...
Like every...
Sorry. You go first.
Oh, I forgot what I said. Continue.
I feel like whenever you play against Sandstorm, it's really bad to try to get away from him because he's really good at chasing people. So it's more worth the risk to like try to wake up and try to like go into him than to risk him just absolutely destroying you and you trying to get away from him over and over and just him creating that loop.
Sometimes all it takes is one weapon, as you can see right here.
If you want to actually gain something out of even being defensive, you have to punish like some aerial of some kind or some miss, or just gain something out of that miss. So like let's say he like tries to go for end light nair, you hit a dodge or you get a dodge and you use it so Sandstorm doesn't get his nair in, and then he just goes defensively, or like he fades away from you. Your objective there is to just gain stage, like just something, because if you leave him alone, then he's just gonna try and re-engage with weapon throws, and it's just Mordex and Asurian, like things like Qatar, Scythe, they're all really good at just getting in. So preventing it to begin with is usually the best way to deal with Sandstorm, or it just would be for anybody who's playing string weapons, because most of them are full screen, for a good reason.
Stingray says starved as possible if you can, but allowing him to slip in just underneath, picking up that rocket lance.
Just working on it
we know
first.
what Stingray can do with a rocket lance. Oh, when they get their hands on it, oh.
Yeah, and this is gonna be tough. Usually, generally, the Scythe has a bit of an advantage aerially going down for those dares against the lance. Stingray's of course aware that goes for the ledge guard, tries to accompany that with a neutral sig to keep Sandstorm into the air, removes the Scythe completely, and again,
it's like perfect because he's just landing right where he needs him to, and Sandstorm actually has not committed to an aerial once.
Oh, and I like that. Sandstorm just tried to get one quick hit to keep Stingray
on stock lead, it feels like
Stingray
Stingray's just kind of losing his sense of how to play spear.
He's
had so many levels on Orion, but I don't know.
I feel like he's just getting overconfident.
Whenever he's getting a lead, he becomes significantly more ambitious. I think that's what's going on. Like he's trying really hard to work for damage, so he starts displacing himself, and he actually just doesn't play for middle stage anymore.
Yeah.
So the problem with that is that even though you have a lead, it's very hard to extend if, well, that's not how you got your interactions to begin with. You don't really know much about the person that you're fighting against.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because the lead was just the lead is so big, like you don't have that much knowledge. So the best point is to just play as if you don't know like what you're fighting against. Yeah, it's still 3-3 white.
Yep, definitely.
So I think that's what Stinger is like thinking. It's like he's trying to extend, but in that he's actually becoming significantly less consistent because he's just not in like a good position. He's always like, he's just all over the place, just kind of waiting for a whiff or something.
Yeah.
And in most cases, when you're focusing on mainly defense, even though you're like an advantage, then it becomes a problem. But yeah, that's all I got on it.
The hit back to kind of, keep Sandstorm as weapon starved as possible for as long as possible. But as we can see, Sandstorm struggling here. Hasn't really been able to get a whole lot of offense going. It's just been the Stingray show from start to finish so far. But listen, if there's one thing that I know for sure, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish.
It would actually help him more if he played
but Stingray also looking to finish the job.
Yeah, I think it's always better. I think it's always better to play for stage control when you have a lead, because it feels like if you overextend by accident, especially against Sandstorm, you'll just get fucked, because he'll literally just, like, once he sees the opportunity, he just wins.
He's displacing himself again. It's like this guy's so. It's like it's not even on purpose, but like he seems so out of position. Right now he's starting to commit to aerials.
Looking to see what attacks can go through and just immediate punishes. Those gauntlets
again, it's just more ambition.
Those setups really trying to read into where Stingray's landing will be. Does not quite find it though. It does allow opportunity for Stingray though to have that setup. Send Sandstorm off the stage, but again, quick recovery sends Stingray into the air and gets the lands once they're in the air. That's something you don't want to go up.
And for good reason. I mean, he has less incentive to. He has a lot of expectations and a lot more incentive to win the set.
And man, this could be.
Look at his reaction, man.
And the setup is there. Brings
Look
it
at
to a
that
single
sigh
stop.
of relief.
Does find some gauntlet presence, and the setup is there. Brings it to a single stock line for both.
And man, this could be the situation you need to try and really turn this one around. And now Sandstorm having that scythe in hand too, a last stock scenario. Granted, they only need a couple of hits for Stingray to try and close out this game one. But we talked about it, man. Sandstorm is a different beast with this scythe. And look at this damage.
Of course, this builds pressure, like a lot of it. Like, it doesn't really matter who you are. String weapons just have that factor, like the comeback factor on them.
Yeah, that was really good comeback. Wait, let's look at this last one. Let's look at what we did wrong.
And this could
and the misinputs already kind of add to it. Like the side stick definitely wasn't on purpose.
Yeah, I feel like he was fishing way too hard.
Around and now Sandstorm having that scythe in hand too.
You just had to play it normally, but again, it's like it's too much ambition. Like his ambition became higher.
Like, really turn this
I feel like he got too much confidence from beating him.
Around and now Sandstorm having that.
Look, like he goes over here, he fades away, and then he like
Sandstorm never jumped in this position. Or he didn't where like he had that many jumps.
Granted, they only need a couple hits for
Sandstorm's just doing everything he did. He's like sitting in the corner like sharking.
To try and close out this game one.
But like
he's giving up stage.
Look how scary.
Granted, they only need a couple of hits for Stingray to try and close out this game one.
Like D-Sig immediately. And he's going for all these attacks where he's like trying to hit where Sandstorm is, but I don't know why, because he knows that Sandstorm's always moving. Like he always chooses an option to cover his last option. Like that was the problem with his fadeaway
before. Trying to really turn this one around, and now Sandstorm like, having that scythe in hand too.
He tried to read his like jump like complacently.
Last stock scenario. Granted,
Sandstorm covered it with another option. With
only need a couple of hits for Stingray to try and close out this game one.
Trying to catch Sandstorm's landing, but or like him rushing him down, but Sandstorm's always gonna choose another option after the option because he keeps moving.
About it, man. Sandstorm is a different beat.
Trying to hit him when he shouldn't be hitting him. He should be more.
Yeah, this is just a huge mental fight at this point because Stingray is slowly losing his momentum, and he could just feel the pressure increase. And it doesn't really matter who you are. Again, it's like once your last stock red, you play like you have nothing to lose. It's like it's weird, but he hasn't been punished. Sandstorm has not been punished for going full screen. If anything, he gets benefit from going full screen. So he's just going with whatever works at this point.
Yeah.
Stingray, on the other hand, he has to be secure in all of his options. But there's just one thing that he's not acknowledging is that if he's gonna win, he needs to take up stage.
Yep. And
he's taking up stage, but the pace of his opponent is like obviously not that fast. Like he's not sandbagging into any attacks. He hasn't really played fast either. He's used multiple options. So for him to win, he needs to play slower. Like or not even play slower, but match to his pace because it's not working.
He needs to be way more patient. He's playing the game too like molecularly, if that makes sense. Like he's trying to do like the thing where he goes up to him and then he just punishes the one option that he does, but that doesn't work against people like Sandstorm because Sandstorm just keeps on moving, keeps on doing move after move and covering every move that he does with another. So if you try to read him doing one thing, it does like you can't get to it fast enough because he's just gonna do another thing to cover the last thing he did. If that makes sense.
More than he really needs to, and the damage is getting big. It's getting insurmountable. Stingray.
This starts to become a significant problem. Like once it gets into this position, you kind of realize a lot of land interactions just feel like they have so much war weight into it, and it makes sense as to why.
Yeah.
Out of trouble.
It's like you put all of your game knowledge into one stock, or like all that knowledge from that one round just goes into that last stock because again, it's like there's truly no reason to hold back.
Yeah, Woody was landing on him and dodging into him every single interaction where he was in disadvantage, and it really backfired in this last stock.
Big is getting insurmountable. Stingray.
Look at Sandstorm jump when he
like they're in a lot of trouble.
That is such a bad landing, and given again Sandstorm has incentive to kind of just take a breather here. He just got reduced from so much pressure. Like game 1 pressure just puts you in a good chance of going to game number 2.
It makes sense why Woody would like try to land like this, because he really just, I feel like he's just hoping that would be able to kind of like cheese him out of disadvantage, but he already tried to do that in the first stock, so it's not gonna work here. It's like, yeah, and it really just backfired on him because Sandstorm's
Stingray looking like they're in a lot of trouble.
Look at this jump.
Oh, the recovery goes through! An advantage for stock 1, an advantage for stock 2. But you gotta remember, there's always a third stock. Sandstorm, beautiful comeback there.
Beautiful.
I can't wait to see the graph at the end of this series because Sandstorm's biggest gift, right? We talked about Godly and how the Dodgers are just impeccable. Sandstorm's longevity, being able to use these stocks and keep them going for the absolute maximum amount of time that you can in this game has been the single biggest strength of that player.
I mean, hey, it's what we kind of talked about.
Alright, Stinger has weapon advantage again, and why is he double whiffing? I don't think Sandstorm's ever been in that position where like he's actually just put himself immediately back in range. The guy's just been full screen.
Yeah,
that or he just doesn't commit. He doesn't fade in. Like that's not really his thing. And if he does fade in, it's not even with an aerial either.
But now getting into game 2, we're gonna see if Stingray can try to find a way to get back.
Like he does it. He keeps trying to like. He does one interval of pressure and then tries to punish the option he does, but it's not gonna work because he does everything.
Now
at the
getting
same
into
time
game 2, we're gonna see if
this playstyle is starting to become outdated. If he's gonna win again, it's like it has to be just like outside of what he normally does.
It's not even.
So like instead of going for D-light, it's just an altercation. So instead of D-light, side light, etc. Go on.
It's not even like it's
Sorry.
outdated. It's just the fact that it's not gonna work against Sandstorm, who's somebody who's always moving. Because he just moves too fast for you to think about the game in a way where you could be like, okay, when I empty op, he just does this one option because he moves too fast for that.
It's what we kind of talked about. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And Sandstorm
he pressures him once, and then like one interval pressure, and then
but now getting into game.
Same thing here, but like
you start.
It would make sense.
How you
would
finish,
make sense
and
if he was
Sandstorm
doing
rose
one
to the
option
occasion here.
Slower,
but now getting into game 2, we're going to see if Stingray can try to find a way to get back on the board. We've already seen Stingray get 3-0'd earlier. It would be a shame to get 3-0'd again, especially when you've made it this far in the bracket. You got to put up a fight. And so far, not looking too bad, relatively even across the board, but this is kind of what we saw last time. You know, Sandstorm had these gauntlets, just wasn't really able to get that offense going, and all of a sudden the scythe came out to play, and we saw
taking that weapon throw into consideration was everything. Like, if he could somehow just get rid of that interaction by spot dodging or just remember about it, then he would have been in a better advanced state there.
He's really trying to catch Sandstorm just coming into him every time.
We saw the story get written right in front of our eyes.
It's like he's getting in, but the pace at which he's doing it is enough to still kind of psych Stingray.
A little preemptive with it so far, but then again, though, the adjustments are made after Stingray trying to find that impact.
Huge punish.
Canceled out that
We're punished like a chosen bot, I'm not gonna lie.
We all saw that. We all thought that stock was going to be disappearing here, but Sandstorm just wasn't able to get a Stingray disrupting.
Insane baits.
Now Stingray now maintaining stage.
Probably the first and the last time you'll ever see that interaction from those two again.
Canceled out that signature.
Yeah, we all saw that. We all thought that stock was going to be disappearing here, but Sandstorm just wasn't able to get
Oh my god, that is so
we
crazy.
all thought that stock was going to be disappearing.
It's not, honestly, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not gonna lie.
We all thought that stock was going to be disappearing here, but Sandstorm just wasn't able
basically,
to
he just made himself unpunishable.
That gameplay, and now Stingray now maintaining stage control here. Going to be looking to try and find a way to close out this stock. And as you
even
can
though,
players being
well,
very
technically
careful.
not unpunishable, but there was
Stingray
still
actually
something
come
left
off
to
that sig
read.
a few times now and get big punished for it, but able to take his first lead here.
Good punish.
I feel like he keeps trying to read Sandstorm like being grounded, but he's like jumping every time he approaches him and dodging.
What we want to see.
Yeah, this spear from Stingray, so good so far. Has been able to keep up the pace of Sandstorm. Sandstorm, weapon, no weapon, unarmed, what?
The only time Sandstorm's trying to like get back to the ground is when he gets hit up.
Whatever, it doesn't matter. Sandstorm's able to find that impact. And Stingray so far off
Again,
the stage.
just going full screen, going to the other edge of the screen. This game plan won't work if he's like. It just won't work. Like he's losing advantage in this. If he's going to at least commit to sideline, he has to go for reverse dash sideline instead. Because anything else is like not really working. He's always full screen. He doesn't really take up that much stage. That was good. That was also good. That was also good.
Stingray needs to build an advantage here on that second
He's getting pressure because now Sandstorm's like matching the flowchart that Stingray has initially. It's like kind of dealing with people who can go in really fast against him. That's how it used to be back in 2020.
Doesn't connect against Sandstorm. Now without a weapon, goes in unarmed like it's nothing.
Not want to lose this advantage.
But now we see that scythe come into Sandstorm's hands when he needed it most, and we're gonna see if he can try to find a way to put this lead. Stingray tossing the weapon and tried to get a big play out of that. Okay, they were able to get the stock. I thought they put themselves in the worst position possible. So thank goodness, you know, I don't know any better. Stingray knows exactly what they're doing.
Putting yourself in that worst position sometimes means you're not readable. Stingray has that advantage now.
I feel like Witty is kind of not necessarily ignoring neutral, but he's putting more stock into advantage state. Like I feel like he's like he really wants to get into advantage state rather than like win neutral. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were talking about the game one advantage is back, but Sandstorm on that final stock, the most devastating.
Nah. Okay, that's the second time it's happened already. Stingray hasn't. Oh, it was in momentum. But as I was saying, a lot of the problem right there was that Stingray kind of let go of the idea of like this other option kind of existing. He was landing when Sandstorm was just pretty much stacked entirely that time. Again, Stingray is definitely in match with Sandstorm's pace now. As soon as Sandstorm played slower, or like he put a delay into his options, it seemed that he just kind of lost his pacing. Like, this would only work if the interactions were significantly faster.
We see that scythe come into
They're not.
Sandstorm's hands when he needed it most, and we're gonna see if he can try to find a way to put this lead. Stingray tossing the weapon and tried to get a big play out of that. Okay, they were able to get the stock. I thought they put themselves in the...
Putting yourself in that worst position sometimes means you're not readable. Stingray has that advantage now that we were talking about. The game one advantage is back.
He has to land with an aerial.
The most devastating thing of all.
You can't do this forever. He's losing a lot of damage. Or like he's losing good opportunities at somewhat like retaliating and regaining his stage.
He's not checking.
And again,
for just sitting there. That's the problem.
Game one advantage is back. But
not even sitting there. He's not punishing him. Period, for something that, you know, Spear's actually just good at, which is falling there.
Yeah, like I said, I think he's trying to just like cheese his way out of disadvantage.
Storm on that final stock, the most devastating thing of all. It's almost like it's 4 extra gained. And now look, very little damage applied. A much slower game now. Winnie anticipating what Stingray's gonna throw out. The weapon throw comes by, does cancel out Sandstorm's movement, yes, but up in the air. Punishes are there. The scythe is now returning. The gauntlets are now gone. This offstage against Sandstorm's scythe is not where you want to be.
I mean, this is what it comes down to as well, you know, like just the whole situation, right? You kind of mentioned it. On that last stock, it turns into a different game. It's like what happens when you back the beast against the wall, when you put them in the corner. How do they respond? We saw how Sandstorm responded in game 1, and it looks like in game 2, they
you can see, like,
respond.
the weight of this
We saw how Sandstorm responded in game 1, and it looks like in game 2, they might...
Yeah, I mean, Stingray, he's still in it, but he's definitely discontent with what just happened. Like, to win neutral and then just not expand on it is extremely annoying. What is... Bro, I don't know a time where Stingray has engaged on anybody for being full screen. You can't stay in the center forever, mainly because there's no other choice if he wants to gain damage.
Sandstorm deep red on that final stock. This is the opportunity now to bring
that doesn't usually happen, but let's just say Stingray low-key got lucky in that interaction.
But off stage, recovery's there. Big blast zones. Not going to be easy on Lions. The scythe is now picked back up.
Oh, this is so
played that way better than last time.
Now to
Last
bring
time he
it
was
1-1
rushing it, but
for
he
the
played
set.
very patient.
But off stage, recovery's there.
Of course,
Big
it's a mistake you don't really want to make
easy on
again.
Lions. The scythe is now picked back up.
Yeah, I feel like last time
Blast
he
zones,
definitely
not
would
gonna
have saw
be easy
that
on
dodge.
Lions.
But,
The scythe is now picked back up.
Would have tried to punish it, but
Oh, this is
Yeah, he actually waited for a falling aerial. Surprised.
Out when he needs it to, and you can see him reacting in his chair. And thank goodness, Keg.
Even though,
was very
in most
here,
cases,
because
Sandstorm
if
has actually not went with an aerial before. He still kind of forced it out anyways, and it's fine. Sandstorm can't really think about everything.
You know? So just be able to hit that, close it out. Thank goodness we've got a ball game on our hands.
Now, I'm not much of a math guy, Skip, but now I think we're guaranteed game 4. No more 3-0s for at least this set. And when you're facing elimination this deep in the BCX, you want every game you could possibly have.
Yes. And I mean, that's also the other thing too, is that Stingray can kind of, you know, have a sigh of relief here. You know, not worried about getting 6-0'd on stream or anything like that.
Yeah, this evens
but
it
like
out.
the fact that you've got a game under your belt, right? We all know
This is small Brawlhalla. Low key, this is
but the fact
on.
you're able to take a game, even things
This
up
is Stinger's
one
grounds.
piece here, you're definitely like, okay, I can handle this. I can play to their level. I can go the distance. But we still got to see it done. We got to see it get going.
Who do you want, BC?
Young nigga trapping hard.
Oh.
I pray I make it out with my squad.
What's good, Golly? You're recording analysis.
Oh shit, my fault.
Stingray
Sorry.
versus Stingray.
I'll leave. You guys take care. I thought you guys were chilling. My fault.
Why did he do that?
Yeah, let me make the channel. There we go. All right. Anyways.
Going here right now in Small Haven, doing a good job to get things started.
Oh, really nice.
I'm not sure who
Nice
picked
catch. Let me full screen.
this stage.
Oh!
I would say normally this is in the favor of Sandstorm, but that spear play that we're seeing, the setups again, the neutral's like almost connecting from Stingray.
Yeah, he really wants
Putting
to
that pressure on. Scythe is now out against an unarmed Stingray. It might not matter.
Oh, he said, nice combo. It's mine. It's mine now. You lose the stock here, and Stingray continues to push forward. Oh,
Yeah, he's double whiffing.
it's mine now. You lose the stock
I think the double whip he really just wants
here,
to get into
and
advantage.
Stingray continues to push
And rightfully so, because Sandstorm defensively is not that
forward.
good.
Hopefully not looking back at all. All that's in the distance is another W on this game too, but we do see Sandstorm answer back here, trying to even things up. Has taken a little bit of damage, but a little bit of damage ain't no thing when you can get a nice combo under your belt.
Let's talk adjustments. Sandstorm's first stock in these sets.
Not a bad
Not really
setup.
the biggest thing to talk
Honestly,
about, right?
nothing
But that
against
second
it, but
stock
double D-Light
leads
Sarah's
into
definitely.
the pressure of that final stock,
Yeah.
where
I think
Sandstorm
he
ramps
just-
up the
oh my
difficulty.
God.
It's like arcade mode for Stingray
Yeah,
or
he's
anybody
kinda
that goes
mixed
up
up.
against Sandstorm. But toe to toe, again, another dance, a tango between the two. An unarmed Sandstorm fears nothing against the nares of Stingray. Again, all bases covered. Stingray's just looking to find those reads, see where those spot dodges are going to land into for
That's good.
Stingray. I'm sorry, for Sandstorm. But the
Again,
goal is back out.
as long as
Out of
Stingray
gauntlet versus the Lance.
or-
Should be the
What the
Lance
fuck
with
was
the
that? Wow.
advantage. Neutral sink into the air, and Sandstorm looking to find a way to get back down. But
So with
the
anything
recovery
that usually sends
just
Sandstorm in the
managed
air,
to
he has
remove
a
the Lance
he has a
from
need to kind of
contention.
just
And like, look, I
Dodge down.
understand Sandstorm took that stock.
Any time he's ever hit, he always just wants to go back in. He does it. Like they're kind of doing the similar thing where like they both don't want to have a long disadvantage, so they always just try to force it out of the opponent to like let them back in, but it doesn't work defensively.
That was a nice lead, but that spacing and that whole sequence from Stingray was top notch, man. That was absolutely incredible.
good.
And as we can see, trying to answer back here.
Oh,
No, please don't let this be the end. Stingray, get back to the stage, please.
What are
Oh
they
my,
talking about?
oh no.
Did he like run out
Notch,
of
man.
options or
That
something?
was absolutely incredible. And as we can see, trying to answer back here.
I think he was perfectly fine.
No.
Why are they
Oh,
doing
no.
He wasn't
please don't let
fine.
this be the end.
He had
Stingray, get
two-
back to the
he had
stage,
three
please.
versus-
Oh, my
or
goodness.
two
That was
resources
so
to go
tough.
after
Oh,
the-
I was
after
so
the
scared
jump.
for Stingray.
and they were all two
part of
really heavy
BCX.
committed ones too.
Besides the Elam bracket, Sandstorm would have went for it.
Okay.
And you know what? Little off
First time
turn,
Woody's been down.
Sandstorm got punished for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you really think about it, I was like, oh, I really let him back onto stage. I was able to let him reset neutral. And as you can see, if you really think about it, I was like, oh, I really let him back onto stage. I was able to let him reset neutral. And as you can see, Stingray's taking that and running with it, putting on a nice little bit of combos, all right, and a little bit of damage.
If it matches Stingray's like pace, then it'll usually be fine.
As well. Stingray continues this spacing, carrying him all the way around across the stage, keeping him up in the air. The jungle situation, okay.
Stingray is doing so good about these
setups. Bro, Sandstorm will never do that. Like, with all due respect, and it's not even like to discredit or belittle Stingray. Sandstorm has not really jumped in all that often, and when he does, it's actually glaringly obvious. But of course, it could probably just be like bias because it's significantly easier to point out somebody's flaws when you're spectating than when you're actually playing.
Yep, definitely. I think Woody is like expecting Sandstorm to commit to every option he does, but he doesn't. Sandstorm keeps like second guessing himself after every option he does. Like if he dodges, he like jumps again or attacks. If he jumps, then he has to like cover with something else, like a dodge or something. But like he expects them to just fully commit and cross him every time.
A multi-time world champion, now deep red, not for elimination just yet, but coming pretty dang close. Gauntlets. No response coming out from this player. A multi-time world champion, now deep red. Not for elimination just yet, but coming pretty dang close, Skiff.
Stingray taking.
I feel like Sandstorm could have avoided this.
A multi-time world champion, now deep red. Not for elimination just yet, but coming pretty dang close, Skiff.
Stingray taking Game 3, and now we're getting into that Game 4 that you mentioned earlier, and now having that lead, right? We've already talked about, you know, dropping the lead to Sandstorm in that Game 1, but obviously that mentality from Stingray is top notch. As we can see, getting into not just Game 2, taking that Game 2 W, that Game 3 W, and continuing to move forward. Honestly, just looking better and better as the game goes on. Now, they have been kind of trading, you know, back and forth, like some amazing plays, great spacing, the neutral, but like Stingray obviously is getting the better of everything in the long term, and now you're one game away from top 8 at BCX 2022. Now, can you close it out, or will Sandstorm be the Grim Reaper here with that scythe and try to put you down?
This is for elimination. If you're a fan of Sandstorm, you gotta worry. 3 stocks left, potentially all that Sandstorm has left in BCX. Having a quiet beginning of 2022.
Good delay.
Now grinding again in the latter
no, dude, that's way too many resources right there.
Now grinding again in the latter half of this year,
yeah, that is super unhealthy.
Stingray coming
Thankfully, Stingray caught on to it. He's attacking really early now.
Red on that first stock. Sandstorm full control, full weapon starve against Stingray. The setup into the recovery.
Not the healthiest, but it makes sense because
I've seen Woody not wake up.
It's not a bad wake up, but in this case, it just wasn't what Sandstorm was looking for. I don't really remember the last time Stingray dodged like in that
scary all the way through, man.
Unless I'm just looking at it wrong.
Yeah, I am sweating so.
I don't know. I think he woke up at a gauntlet side every time this set. It would make sense why Sandstorm would go for it. So
much right now, I can't even imagine being in the hot seat here between these two players. It's actually kind of ridiculous, but right now we do.
I don't know how to feel about Sandstorm setup with the gauntlets, because that was supposed to go into
Stingray is not able to close this one out. The extra credit is mounting and it's getting worse. Oh no! Uncharacteristic SD.
Unchained, the beast has been unleashed.
Holy meat munch. It doesn't really matter who you are, bro. That's peak meat munch. I actually feel so bad for Stingray.
God. That's so crazy. Versus the
a 2-stock lead from Sandstorm, and Stingray has no opportunity. Oh no!
Yeah, I think Sandstorm like sat back and said, okay, he's just waking up off of every interaction.
He pretty much had full momentum, and Sandstorm
nearly lost
what he's normally really good at is just
Stingray has not been able to land
expanding the lead way farther than it needs to go if anything goes wrong with the other player.
Oh no! The possible greatest setup shut down by Stingray. The depths so close. Deep red on that final stock for Stingray, and then we could be going Skiff to Game 5.
But that's the thing is like, even though you're able to get that
Wow,
stock, you haven't landed a
Sandstorm
single
actually
hit
had
again,
that.
and you're not gonna be able to make it back. This is not the type of situation you want going into
No,
Game
this is-
5.
this-
Right, Game
this
5
last
scenario,
game is
Sandstorm
iconic.
just beat you down. Never mind those first 3 games. Those first 3 games don't matter anymore. That momentum.
This is so dicky. He said, those first 3 games, they don't matter anymore, because Sandstorm just beat you. What the fuck?
I know, it really sucks. There's heavy bias, and it's like Sandstorm's PR 59 and high key not.
Going into Game 5,
It's like he's so, for a reason, like he's so out of touch with the
I need you to
game.
rise to that second level. I need the crowd.
I'm sure
to give
Sandstorm
Stingray
knows
their energy.
that a lot
Otherwise, listen, if you're a
of his,
Sandstorm fan, start giving him yours because it's a Game 5 scenario, baby.
he knows that a lot of his aspects in neutral are now just
I would
applied
say
on
the
like
inventor
a
of the
bunch
scythe.
of top players at the moment.
Now making that.
Like what Sandstorm used to do is now considered basic
BCX.
neutral.
Stingray again.
That was super good.
Unbelievable. Has grinded, found so much success this year, so much success at BCX, and this is the moment where it all came to. All that pressure, all that hard work, all that grinding, just for this moment, just for this Game 5. Deep red, Sandstorm starting off not on a hot streak. It's Stingray now who's clapping back. We had seen.
All he has to do, not even like kill him. All he has to do is just hold his like his advantage state. Like he just has to make sure that he has stage.
What Sandstorm could do on Small Haven, a larger stage in the benefit of Stingray. Sandstorm benefited from the small hitboxes, the small blast zones of Small Haven.
Like
They're going back to Lions, more room to set up with the spear. Sandstorm for the ledge guard, sure, but again, the damage may have already been done. That spear, the setup again, looking for the stairs, looking to find the approach against Sandstorm. Not gonna be found just yet.
In most cases, you're not built to kill in this situation, because you're there to play for stage control. Of course, you're supposed to have the block.
Exactly what I want to see, because man, losing
and in the tournament presence, it doesn't really bother you up until like you're in the set and you need to go.
And it's what Stingray's doing right now. He's showing greatness. You got to be consistent here. It's not over yet. You got 2 more stocks you got to burn through before we can consider you a top 8 qualifier. But Sandstorm not just going to lay down and take. He's going to battle back every which way the call is hand, trying to put the beat down, taking that stock off the top.
That was super bad though.
That first stock of Sandstorm and all these matches so far.
Sandstorm seemingly is kind of, he's really good at getting in.
Again, the ramp up, the roller coaster for 2 and 3 had been just completely different games.
I feel kind of bad because I just realized what happened.
It's nerve-wracking. It's scary. There's no other way to put it. Sandstorm has been this looming force, this phantom over Stingray for the entirety of these last 5 games. The gauntlet setups are there. We talked
really bad. This momentum's really bad because Stingray's using a lot of resources right now.
That being said, though, there is a ledge guard.
Instead of attacking too, like he's very reserved at the moment.
Find a little bit of damage, but it's all for that scythe to return.
Oh, this is
dude,
so
this
Stingray had some
it's not exactly bad, but it's like he did that interaction twice.
Stock, you can see Stingray reeling forward. You can the damage on, but losing. The second stock, you can see Stingray reeling forward. You can definitely tell it hurt him. He knows the scenario right now. He knows the danger that he's in. And Sandstorm has that scythe. The Grim Reaper is here. Is he going to be able to close this out? Tries to go for it. Stingray barely finding a way out. Surviving by the skin of his very teeth keg.
But probably still, even now, after still watching this, like on the stairs, I can still say like that's the one actual option I've ever scoffed at in my entire life. But like seriously, because I've never seen anybody get cheesed up until when it counted. Up until then.
Reaper is here. Is he gonna be able to close this out? Tries to go for it.
I think Sandstorm is really it's like the same thing that Woody. You got really ambitious. You try to run at him with an attack right here in the neutral, but since Woody have more priority here, you got
more.
And then
by the skin of his.
Oh fuck! This is really unfortunate.
Tries to go for it. Stingray barely.
Like on paper, Sandstorm is supposed to win. Stingray obviously wasn't really in the position to win. Like with all due respect.
He tried to react. I think he tried to react, and then Sandstorm, like it really backfired on him. Him trying to cover up every option, does another option, because Woody just like when he didn't hit that, Sandstorm should have just reset.
Of his very teeth.
He went for another attack, and then when he was able to
Yeah,
get the
again, the
punishment
first and last time you'll ever see this interaction, most likely.
Yep.
That's like,
Down to one.
that's a 1 in 8
How did
chance.
Sandstorm? We haven't seen anything like it yet. A final stock, game 5 for both players, all for BCX contention in the
Dude,
Elim bracket.
Stinger's using way
this
too
is
many
so
options.
terrifying,
Like, when you
Hold
turn
up.
up, the point isn't to do this unless
battling their
the
hearts out right
person
now.
you're fighting against is
Sandstorm,
playing
oh, that
extremely
was
fast.
huge. Went the wrong way with that Stingray, having a second chance at life
Bro,
for
he
sure.
shouldn't
But
win.
trying
How
to
does he
stay
even
alive,
win
you gotta
this?
battle back, man. The crowd has definitely got some energy for you,
Oh
but
my
they got some
God,
energy
this
from
is so
Sandstorm
scary.
too right now. Sandstorm with the gauntlets, opting for these. I mean, we've seen the scythe actually
Yeah,
be the
Sandstorm
game
has
making
not
the
anticipated a
bread
double
winner.
whiff at all. Like, I don't know how this happens, but this goes on for like two more interactions after the first one.
Yeah.
The first D-Light and Light. So, and again, it's like a heavy weapon, so you could just feel those interactions, and especially at land.
Yeah, definitely. He Sandstorm.
Set, winning,
He's just, like-
game-changing weapon for him.
Oh my
But the
God.
gauntlets, is this what's going to be able to close it out? Oh,
No, dude.
Oh, he hit
Okay, whoa. Stop right there. What he did
game-changing
right there is a sign of lack of
weapon
game knowledge.
for him.
This is what happens when you don't touch the game. The silent read right here, he could have, bro.
Yeah. Oh my God. Dude.
The average player from
Set,
2022 would have
winning,
taken care of that.
game-changing weapon for him.
Bro.
But the gauntlets, is this what's going to be able to close
Bro,
it out?
this is a dude. That was actually the perfect time to share.
Wait, huh?
Look.
Sir?
Look at the sidelight.
Winning, game-changing weapon
The
for him.
sidelights.
But the
and then
gauntlets,
he
is this
waits
what's going to
here,
be able to close?
Preferably, like I would expect for him to react, and then we
Oh,
fast
we had
forward
it!
into like that was like the perfect time to recover your.
Anybody?
Share.
Listen. So if you were Radish, Megdi, or even Jepping in this scenario, you would have killed right then and there.
Yep, definitely.
It doesn't really matter who you are.
That
like-
was the,
For Sandstorm to miss out on that, just like that alone, kind of shows why he's in PR 59. It's because he's just out of touch.
Yep.
Now he missed out on an option that he was supposed to cover. He's supposed to cover naturally, as a matter of fact. He's had so many levels on Vortex that he doesn't know how to go for the silent recovery tech. So it just starts to show like the difference between players, I think, or the difference between generations of players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could also
it's
just be
like-
from lack of practice.
There, he had it there.
A weapon throw. The spear back
Oh,
out.
we
Stingray's
should not have won
unleashing
this,
all
dude.
two players
We
tethered
actually should
together,
not have won this.
bouncing.
Again, the first and the last interaction that you'll probably ever see from this game.
Off of each other
Like,
so well.
this won't happen
Guys,
again.
That's gonna be a tethered together,
Look at Winnie
bouncing
Woohoo.
off of each other so well.
That's gonna be
Sandstorm is out! Sandstorm is out! Game 5, final stock between the two. Stingray,
Oh, look at that
we
headshot. I
talked
think you
about
see me go up to him.
gold medal in the winters, the summers,
Yeah.
the autumns.
Yeah, you actually like
It wasn't
went-
bound.
went straight
And
up
this
to him,
one
I'm not
step
gonna lie.
closer, a stepping stone. What a better way to
Yeah,
show
that's
it off,
you.
Skip,
Your keyboard.
than
Oh, man.
beating
I don't have a
Up to him,
keep
like,
anything
let's
done.
fucking
Champion of this game.
go. Yeah, it's me.
Absolutely insane stuff.
one of the few world champions of this game.
Look at little Kevin. I was like, let's fucking
Absolutely
go.
insane stuff. You can see the homies coming around, giving them their celebrations, and they
Yeah,
know,
really good
they
show.
know exactly.